Blaine Haney, the Cujo unleashed with a big sneeze. Shuts it off early. Now he is test hook. You can go take a look at things.
What's up, guys?
Mike, how's it going?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Not bad. Not bad for a fat guy.
Did you watch the foosball game last night, Larry?
Actually, I caught parts of it, mostly when they turned to Taylor. All I know is Taylor's team didn't look very good. And then at the last minute, of course, she talked to the NFL, and they said, hey, you going to hang around next season? And she goes, if it works out. And so instantly, they took the lead and won. That's my opinion.
It was all in the script. You know, they just had to make sure that she was following the script. So, yep. Yeah, that's that. Brent, what's going on, man? You've got big stuff to reveal tonight, right?
Yeah, sure do. It's been busy getting this kind of put together a little presentation. Kind of made it look nice. Kind of do it every year. So, just updating the website here now too. We're gonna have a spot on the website that you can see who got invited through the fan voting. So we'll have that posted once we reveal everything here in just a little bit. And yeah, then farm show this week, so that'll be exciting. I'm on call this weekend, so I don't get to do anything fun. So I'll just be sitting back and watching it. May head over to Colin Burkholtz's this week and this weekend and watch it over there at his place. So yeah, exciting times.
Yeah, if you're a diehard sports guy, or not even a diehard sports guy, just if you're a fan of big time entertainment, this is one of the biggest weeks out there. You go from Super Bowl on Sunday, National Farm Machinery Show, which has got, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Invitation Championship tractor pulling, then Daytona 500 on the following Sunday, I think. Pulling season's basically here. This is kind of where we're at. And we're going to be, Brent, tell them what you're going to be unveiling tonight. I won't bother you too much while you're putting the final touches, but let all the awesome people out there know precisely what we're going to be discussing during this major kickoff week of the 2024 pulling season.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been doing a couple rounds of fan voting here to see who's going to get invited to fill the rest of the spots here for the Pullers Championship May 17th and 18th at the Track of Holes Hours in Nashville, Illinois. So we will be revealing those tonight, and registration will be open right away for those guys and gals that did get voted in. And yeah, some exciting stuff. Familiar faces that have competed in the past, a lot of new faces as well, some new vehicles. So it's going to be a very fun and exciting year this year. I'm looking forward to it. And, it seems like every year the classes get stouter and stouter, and no different this year.
Yeah, every year the classes do get stouter. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just going to ask, how was total voting in comparison to years past, right? I
Yeah,
know you have those
it is
tallies.
pretty
How's it
similar
look?
as well. Obviously, round 2 always seems to take off a lot more than round 1. Obviously, once you're in that top 20, a lot of the teams are really pushing to, get in. So they get everybody in to get out there and get voting. So I did go through. I took out all the illegitimate votes. You can't vote 700 times by one person. 70 by one person. Yeah, you're pushing the limits, but 700. Yeah, that's so went through. There wasn't many of that this year. Last year there seemed to be a lot more of it, but we're trying to keep it fair. We don't want somebody just out there just spamming things and they're getting in. Because last year there was somebody that voted so many times that they would have had the top 10 spots to themselves. So
they just sat there all day and just kept hitting. They just had it on repeat, just hitting the button.
I mean, whoever did that, because that is some determination to be able.
Yeah, you almost have to, it's voter fraud, but you almost have to reward it. Just for the
exactly.
A for effort. That's right. That's the women swiping left or right on me on Tinder, so they don't have to go out with me, right? They just go fast. They've got a lot of practice for that.
What site was that, Matt?
Tinder, I'm told, Larry. Yeah, down south, we didn't get to hook up on that, which was good.
On this episode of Let's Grow Pulling, Larry Richwine learns about Tinder.
And how you can vote multiple times for the Pullers Championship. A lot of people chiming in from the West Coast tonight. They're excited, want to get some West Coast tractors into Nashville, Illinois. What an exciting time that would be.
Those guys promoted themselves hard. They worked it really, really well, and they want to be. I kind of think that's the big reveal tonight. The past 2 years, it was, what kind of show are we going to see tonight? I want to know how many of those California guys did any, and how many of the West Coast guys are we going to see from Brent? So that's kind of the big drum roll as far as I'm concerned. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of teams this year. Obviously, the California group being one of them that really pushed hard to get voted in, and for some worked out, for some fell a little short. So that's just the name of the game. There's some big time pullers out there that they don't even need to do anything, and they're getting votes. So it's hard to beat some of those guys, but a little determination, it's definitely you're definitely able to.
What and to kind of tie Larry into this a little bit, and I wanted to ask this question, we'll get it out of the way. At the Pullers Championship in Nashville, it's an independent pull, but that's typically been ran essentially with a PPL crew. Is that right?
Yeah. So the first year,
I see that. I like it.
the track crew for the most part was, the flagman and things like that was ran by PPL officials, Clint Tucker and his crew. Different people like that. The behind the scenes, this helping with staging and all that stuff, that was us yahoos that tried doing it, and we realized that we suck at it. So we decided let's bring in a PPL. They've been there for many years already. They know the facility. They know Brad very well. They have that working relationship already. So we decided to bring them in. And last year, man, it changed things big time, and it sped up our show dramatically. Made things a lot smoother. And everything was definitely overall a lot better, and made things a lot easier on our part. We didn't have to worry about so much. We could focus on the things that were important for us to focus on. So they'll be back again here in 2024. So we're looking forward to having them, and they do a great job. So
Larry, will you be there, and will you be working with PPL in any capacity, or what's your role going to look like with this pull?
Well, I got my new curtains or flag behind me.
It
I've
looks
got my
good.
PPL hat. Thank you very much. And I got my PPL hat on, and yeah, I'll be there.
All right.
And
All right.
I won't be signing autographs, but I understand you and Matt will be.
I don't know. That one's my big fat curveball for the year. I'm trying to get my summer schedule built, and that one's the one I can most firmly say I don't know if I'll be at that pull or not. That's the same weekend as the Missouri State High School track and field state meet, and my wife is the head track coach at our school. So hopefully we're wearing Wildcat purple and cheering on all our runners. But if not, I'll be headed east.
Well, if your wife is the head track coach, and trust me, you won't be at the pullers.
That's it's a long shot that I'll be in Nashville, but we'll figure it out as we go. So Matt, when do we get to see? Oh, one guy had a question earlier before you bring up all your awesome stuff. He said, what classes got the most votes? That's a sharp question. I like that.
Yeah. So in years past, it's usually pro stock, but this year it was the 4-wheel drive trucks.
Wow. Really? Good for them. I love 4-wheel drive trucks, and that's a class that doesn't always get the spotlight show like the mods and like the pro stocks do. That's interesting. Thoughts on that? Why do you think so many people gravitated towards that?
Just about every puller in that class is sharing things on social media, trying to push themselves or push others to vote for them. So that was definitely by far the biggest reason. Usually that's kind of in years past, it's kind of how it's been too. You look at some of the top classes, it's who's been pushing it the most in those classes. And that was definitely by far the biggest, I guess, takeaway from that is that, yeah, you run down that top 20 list and I mean, go look at their social media. Majority of them
was the social media a bigger play this year than it has been for the past 2 years?
I would say it was pretty similar to last year. Definitely bigger than year one. In round one, and I don't know if it was just Facebook being Facebook or what it was, but I didn't see as much. And then round two, the first couple of days, it was just I saw it all over the place. So
yeah,
I don't know, what the reasoning was. If people are just waiting to see, some of them just like, oh. I'll see if I get in the top 20. If I do, then I'll push it. I don't know. So, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of I saw a lot of people sharing things and trying to get them to get votes, and that's great to see. For us, one of the big reasons there's a couple reasons behind the fan voting. One, we wanted fans to be able to have a say on who they want to see there. We wanted the pullers to try to push, like we want them to have some sort of reasoning to be able to come to the event. They got voted in, they pushed and they earned it. They had their fans voting for them, different things like that. Another one is just it's a marketing tool. We get so many shares because of it. A lot of eyeballs get onto our page and onto our website because of them sharing that stuff around. So it's hopefully every year, the more that we do it, the more voting that happens, more people will see it. They'll become interested in it, and then hopefully puts more butts in the seats or more eyeballs in the live stream. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. And obviously all the dollars go right to the pullers. So the more the merrier.
Larry, in all your time being in the world of truck and tractor pulling, and especially in the sides of officiating and promoting, could you have ever imagined in 1988 that so much of the sport would be driven from computers and internet, and then you yourself would be partaking in it? It's a crazy world that we live in, a sport that's had such close ties to blue collar and agriculture. And now one of the main things that we discuss every week is, what's the social media look like? Could you have ever seen this 25 years ago?
No, in high school, I didn't even take typing. I didn't need to have typing to be a farmer or a garage mechanic. And my father took typing. I don't know why. And he was born in 1926. But nevertheless, I have been told, Matt, hold your breath, Matt. I've been told I have a mean hunt and pecker method. That's all I've got to say. I use the computer every day. You almost disappeared in your virtual background, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's like, whoa. If you want, Matt, I'll get you one of these flags sent to you.
That'd be nice.
Of either genre. I mean, I still have connections on the other side. Anyway, I probably still got a flag somewhere, but no, I would have never dreamed it, Mike. It's but who would have thought that what we do today, every day, is wasn't even thought of? No, you're right.
Yeah, it's just so neat the way that, and pulling has changed now that we're getting closer to what I'm kind of referring to as like the third generation in pulling. You know, there was the glory days of pulling, you know, in the late 70s and early 80s, and then into the 90s, you know, everybody's kids was pulling, and now you're looking at a lot of the grandkids, and a lot of the, you know, the Outlaws has the Young Guns program with all our pullers between 16 and 25, and a lot of these are, you know, now third generation truck and tractor pullers. And I think it's good because this is the world that they live in. It's kind of the world that I live in a little bit. And this is the direction that everything is moving. And I think pulling's done a great job in things like the Pullers Championship, where you ask the fans to vote and they have a platform where they can vote, or full pull. We're going to talk about that later tonight, where you can be interactive and make your picks and have competitions with it all through, you know, your apps and your smartphones. It's a reflection of how much the sport has grown, but so is the mechanics in it too. You know, I mean, the equipment that's being ran is a long ways different than what it was 50 years ago too. So it's really neat to watch pulling moving into kind of this third generation, this third phase. So yeah, it's cool.
I agree.
Brent, you got a big drum roll. When do you get to put all your goodies on the screen for us? Everyone's getting excited, I'm sure.
Give me 1 minute. I'm just updating.
You're on that. That's fine. We can talk for that. No problem.
Should I vote real quick, or too late? Yeah.
Yeah, can we get 2 more in? That's right.
I have my list right here. It's the one thing is, like, you have to make sure, like for me anyway, that you stayed organized and you stayed consistent and you voted for the same people. And especially with the randomizer, where it doesn't, you know, you don't just have them in the same order each time. You have to make sure you go through and find the ones that you want to vote for. So it was a full deal, but I've got mine right here. It's going to be fun. I'm going to go through and I'm going to see how many of mine that I was voting for made it in there. So,
well, and when you've only got 17 or 18 email addresses, it's really hard to keep track of how many times you voted each day. Just saying. I
wanted to do an official count. Jason sent me on an assignment about a month ago, and I'd made a post and it said, I don't remember what my post said, but it essentially started talking about just the sheer number of pulling vehicles out there. And Jason was like, I want you to get a number. Like, I want you to find what is the actual number. Let's find out how many pulling vehicles there are in North America. Let's do United States and Canada both. And I was like, that's okay. You know, so my jumping off point was, my jumping off point was going to the Pullers Championship, their website. And I was going to count them all up. And I was like, this is just on this alone. I'm not going to count all this. So I had all my students. I'm not going to say if this is during class time, but I had them all signed in on their own emails. And I said, okay, you're counting the 4-wheel drives, you're counting the 4-1s and everything. And then I was like, oh man, if I was a bad dude, I've got 25 people signed in. I could tell them all who to vote for right now. But I was like, do not click on anything, exit out of your screens. Also, if the principal walks in, you know, pull up the Crucible or whatever it was on the other screen. Like,
yeah, don't pull up like Pornhub or RedTube.
There it is.
You know that Pornhub actually owns RedTube. That's all I got to say.
I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with any of the words you're using right now, Larry.
I'm unfamiliar with Pender too.
Yeah.
Pender.
Yeah. Don't go on any of those sites and search fat guy 67. Don't do that.
that ironically enough is his email as well. So that works out pretty good. Get 2 more votes in while Brent gets these tallied. It's funny that you had a whole crew doing that for you, Mike, and Brent's done it in his sleep for the last 3 months or 4 months or a year.
Yeah. It doesn't take that long each class. I mean, when I first did some of those lists, it only took me like 6 or 7 hours.
Only
a class.
So there were, Brent, I sent you the message. Larry, to kind of come back to my long story there were 900. This is counting the ones this is counting the initial invites, and then plus the fan voting on the Pullers Championship alone, which doesn't have 2-wheel drive trucks. And I would be willing to bet there's 900 2-wheel drive trucks in the country by themselves.
Yeah, there's 200 and some.
There were 900, essentially championship level or grand national level pullers just on the pullers championship. So to try to nail down a number, if anyone out there's done the math and you can comment tonight, like the total number of pulling vehicles in the United States, I couldn't.
I wouldn't want to start because you start doing all the hot farm, pro farm. Yeah, that starts adding up really quick too.
Yeah.
2.6 trucks, 3.0 trucks.
Mike, can I help with the assignment you need? Find out from each organization how many members they have, competing members.
So that's my next thing.
You're the school teacher. Come on, man.
My next post,
What is that,
post I wrote on Beer
inflation?
Money, I said, tell me what state level organization you pull with. I was just going to try to figure out. But then even that, if you try to line up the number of state level organizations or even down all the way to your club organizations and your hobby stock organizations, there's a lot of pulling vehicles out there, guys. There's a lot. There's a lot of pulling.
Too of how many of all the associations in each state. Yeah. It's taken a long time to do it.
And if Brent is the one. Brent is the Wikipedia when it comes to pulling and keeping track of iron. So if he doesn't have it lodged in his brain somewhere, I don't know who does.
The name I'm going to use still works for NTPA, and that's John Dunlap. That man.
Yes.
I mean, he's a calculus professor by trade. Why he's not teaching, I don't know. Anyway, but if anybody could come up with the equation and the answers, John Dunlap, I think, could get you closer than anybody.
Yeah. I was doing a thing for a while where I was keeping track of stats, and Jason was having me. He said, hey, I like those stats you did for the Outlaw Show. Can you bring some stats on here for us? And I was going through and penciling stuff in by hand, and then I realized by accident the NTPA website. You can click on, I think, a vehicle's name, and I'm sure it's this guy who's done it, and it literally shows like win percentage, average distance pulled. It's amazing. Like, take the time to click on the little tidbits on the different websites. The one that NTPA's got when it comes to the stats, I showed that to Dad, and he goes, well, they got a calculus professor or something. I said, actually, I think they do. So.
Yeah. It's a calculus professor.
Hey, Chandler, if you can hear me, can you put my screen on the up? Thanks, dude.
All
right. Well, let's hop into it, I guess.
Man, they're good.
All right. So year number 3, Pullers Championship. I'm going to go through just kind of the information. Obviously, I got to, plug all of our information in first, and then we'll go through who's the initial invites that are in already, and then we'll go through who got voted in. So track at Holes Hours will be where the Pullers Championship takes place. That is in Nashville, Illinois, May 17th and 18th. Start times for both nights will be 6 p.m. Tickets are $20 for adults 11 and up. Kids are 10 and under are free. That is for each night. Pits will be open with a purchase of your ticket. Live stream will be available. That's $25 a night or $40 for the weekend. And there is no rain date. Lodging, if you just want to look over here quick, Nashville, the one hotel there is already full. The rest of them, some of the local ones, Oakville, Pinckneyville, Centralia, those usually fill up usually by sometime in April. So make sure to get your hotels as soon as you can. If you don't want to drive to Mount Vernon, which is the closest with the most amount of hotels, which is about 30 miles away. We do have camping available on site. That is first come, first serve. You just pay for a weekend for the weekend, so $40, and it's primitive camping. There's more information on the website that you can find for that, and when you can come in and different things. No showers, no hookups, nothing. There is campgrounds around the area if you do want to camp somewhere nearby that might have electrical hookups and things like that. So just be mindful that if you show up, have your own shower or figure out your own shower.
Or don't shower.
Yep. Vendors again, we will have the vendor row available. Those are prices. 10 by 10 is 300, 10 by 20, 400, 10 by 30 is 500. That form is available on the website. Sponsorship, we revamped the sponsorship packages for 2024. I do have somewhere. If you go on the website, you'll be able to find all this information. I don't know if it's going to show. Maybe not. anyways, if you go on the website, you can find all the information. There is all sorts of different packages. We have roller sponsorships. We have live stream sponsorship. We have souvenir cups we're going to have this year. You can sponsor that, wristbands, different things. So if you want to get involved, if you know anybody that wants to get involved, please reach out to us, and we'll get headed in the right direction on that. For fan interaction, again, the pits will be open. Meet the drivers. The vendor will be available. There will be a kids zone again this year with the bounce house and kiddie pedal poles. Sounds like potentially that the monster truck will be back again this year. We're trying to work on some other things as well with the kids zone and just more things for fan interactions. 2 video boards will be on site, one for our sponsors and one for instant replay distances, things like that. So if you've been in there in the past, you know exactly what we're talking about. They'll be at the end of the track. Information about the pole or for the pole. Using Bungart sleds again. We'll have 3 of the big sleds. One will be a backup, and then we'll have the mini rod sled. The winners will be determined by the combining their placings from both nights, and then the lowest placing wins. So same way that Bowling Green does their ring. If there is a tie, we will break it by the overall distance combined over the weekend. Pullers, you have to pass a technical and safety inspection. We will be every puller in the Super Farm class, 85 and 95 class will be teched for fuel and water this year. Pullers, already did that. Again, PPL will be the officials that will be running the poll. So we'll have John and Christy doing all the lineups, running the starting line, things like that. And then we will have tech officials from PPL as well, teching, and they will be flagging. So you'll have them. Mr. Jerry Nelson will be the flagman at the end, so he'll be the one that will be directing you off the track. And sounds like with the live stream this year, we'll be doing interview stuff, so don't go too far. No rain date again. If one session rains out, winner will be determined by the one session that we do poll. There is a $500 non-refundable entry or commitment fee. That money is guaranteed back to you if you show up. If you do not, we will not give you your $500 back. Registration will be open open right now. So once you are voted in, if you want to get signed up and registered right away, that would be awesome. The more that we don't have to chase you, it makes our lives a lot easier. The closer we get to the event, we don't want to be doing that. It's a little bit stressful trying to get people to get registered. Just quick update or information on how the invites and the voting worked. We invited the top pullers from the NTPA, PPL, and Outlaws, the 3 national associations, for each of the classes that we had for fan voting. And then we had some promoter choice classes as well. The initial invites had till December 31st to register, or that spot got converted to fan voting. We had 2 rounds. The first round was started on New Year's and went to the 14th of January. And then round 2 started with the top 20 from the round 1 on January 22nd and ended last week on a Sunday. And now we will be announcing tonight in just a few minutes here on who gets in. Payout, 100% of the gate money that we bring in goes right to the purse, same as the live stream. Hopefully we'll be able to get the 50-50 raffle stuff going this year. But we plan to take the winner will get one half from the 50-50, and the other half will go to one of the classes that night. And then again, on Saturday night, we would do the same thing. All the entry fee goes back to the purse. Puller gets their $500 back. Our Facebook page has a performance bonus. Doesn't make a ton, but it makes some. So around the event, I mean, we're making a few $100s. So that's extra money just going back to into the purse. If we get sponsorship for a Friday night or Saturday night bonus, we will be doing that again this year. Last year, Lutz Agency did one for Friday night. And then all extra money that we get from sponsorship that covers our event costs, which is roughly $50,000 to $60,000, that will go right to the payout.
What place do you pay out down to?
Every spot gets money back.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool. Super cool.
12 classes, all the same ones from last year, plus unlimited modified tractors. So 85 and 95 limited pros, super farms, pro stock tractors, super stock diesel tractors, light super stocks, 4-wheel drive trucks, super stock diesel 4x4 trucks, the mini rods, modified tractors running NTPA rules, unlimited mods, and then the super semis. And then how you guys can help make this event grow, make it bigger. Just share it on social media, attend the event in person, purchase live stream, and then anybody that you may know that would be potential sponsors for our event, just send them our way and we'll do the rest from there. And then just keep up to date on our Facebook page, the Polish Championship, as well as the polishchampionship.com. All right, so now we'll just go through the committed initial invites here quick. I won't go too long into it. 85 limited pro stock tractors, Josh Hanna, K-Woods Comet, Mark Wiggins, Demon Deer, Jeremy Witt, the Destructive Deer, Brian Gerling, Family Tradition, Mark Roberts, the Forcinet, Robert Fuller, and the IH-1206, Harry Walker, Just One More, Kenny Kazuzik, Red and Dirty, David Doherty, and the High Price Hooker, and Andrew Tolke and Weiss Nightmare. So mix of 618 tractors as well as points champions and one or two other ones. So if you want a points championship with pretty much the associations that run them, you got an invite. Super Farm Tractors, Dan Schulte and the Binder Express, Ryan Anderson checking out, Russ Freeze and Deer Tracks, Josh Miley, High Maintenance, Chuck Gutenberg, Positive Ground, Nick Scar, also known as Punky, Screaming Norwegian, Jeremy Roberts, Wicked Whitetail, and he was our defending champ last year. 95 limited pro stocks. You got Brett Hexted, the 618 Motorsports 401, Adrian Cox, Hickory Hooker. Dustin Hart will actually be doing the driving that weekend. Gary Barron and the High Stakes Horsepower. Brent Shorefighty, Has She Gone 4.1. He is our defending champion. And George Beyer in Side Piece. Pro stocks, we got Brett Hexted in the 618 Motorsports Pro, and then Rhett Parrish and El Nino. He is our defending champ. Diesel Superstock Tractors, defending champ Travis Slabach and Bone Twister, Tyler Beckman and Born Green, Brad Deckard, and the new full bore Diesel Super, Mike Egan, Hellbent, Jason Schultz and the High Tech Redneck. It's got a new name and new look. I can't tell you what it is.
I want to know how many people watching thought they were accidentally going to get a sneak peek on that picture.
Not today. Darren Olden and the Kryptonite may have a new tractor done, may not. We don't know. He's hoping. And then Doug Meisinger and Scrappy. Light Superstock Tractors, Adam Spiegelberg and Detonator Black, and Martin Daniel over the edge. 4-wheel drive trucks, Terry Higdorg, Kicking Up Dust, Jim Bosch and the Midnight Raider. He is our defending champ. Joe Claypool and Risky Business, and Jake Zaring, rule number 19. Superstock Diesel Trucks, Keith Witt and the American Pride, Chase Eller and Caretaker, Kent Crowder, Shy Diesel, defending champion, and then Eric Stacy, Smoking Ya HD. Modified tractors, you got Cameron Neves and Cotton Candy, Tom Owens and the Ramblin' Rose, two-time defending champion. Steve Bunnage takes a licking, and then Dylan Owens and Thorne. And then right now, Chuck Knapp and Screaming D is registered for the Unlimited class, and we have 4 more coming. For sure. Maybe more.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The other classes you listed, the 8 or 10, is that because they've already registered and entered? And now you're listed like 3 or 4, or in the case of the Unlimited Mod, only 1 you've listed.
So Unlimited Mods is this is just who's registered currently.
Okay.
So if it's a promoter's choice class, we're still filling those classes.
Okay.
Some of them have verbally committed, they just haven't registered yet. Some of them are waiting on parts. Some of them wait till after farm show, or after the indoor pulling season to make sure that they didn't break anything. So,
well, I mean, in the case of like the 4-wheel drive class, you listed 4.
Yep.
And then there was like 20 of them that we could have voted for. I just wondered who else made it.
Yep. So
yeah, we haven't done the voting results yet. These are the ones that were in before the voting.
Yep.
Oh, Sorry, I blew up. Okay. Well,
you're good.
I am new to. Yeah. Well, I didn't know, but so you're going to go over the voting later.
So then, once we're done with this, then we go.
Watch the screen. Larry's going to go mute.
And then super semis, got Chris Jeffries in the Bad Dog and the General Stupidity, Ryan DeBrew in the Playing with Fire, and then Matt Catlin in Temperamental. There are more semis coming. They're just putting things together first before committing. So, but we have at least 3 more verbally committed, as long as parts are a thing. One actually was about to register and then blew it up in the dyno. And they're pretty sure that they can get it together. They just want to make sure now. And with that, we move on to the pullers who were voted in.
Here we go.
So this is all random. This is not in order on how you did in voting. I'm not going to tell you. That's it. We're going to go into it. First one, Superstock Diesel 4x4 trucks.
Is it unkosher if we react positively if one of our voted for picks makes it in? I don't know.
I'm the only one that knows. So
I might. I've got my list right here. I might react. I might not. I have big emotions, so I'll try my best to rein them in.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a fan.
I'm living life dangerously tonight. If you see what my cup says.
Is it a White Castle cup?
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
Reactions.
So we have
here
6
we go.
spots to fill here. First one in, Randy Overton and the Evil Diesel. Next, Nathan Bay, Jumping Jack Flash. Brady Ingram and the Shide Diesel. Brady Ingram driving Keith Witt's Cross Wired. It's going to have a new setup. So for those that don't know, American Pride truck of Keith is getting a new triple turbo setup, and the compound setup is going to this truck. Van Hazley, Rock Hard Ram, and Craig Dickey in the Cummins Killer 3. Those are your 6 trucks I got voted in. So what we will do, just to kind of make things clear here as well, if for whatever reason one of the pullers in the class is unable to make it, one reason or the other, we will move on to who was 7th in the fan voting, and we will move down the list to fill the spots that way. So if you're 7th, which I'm not going to tell you if you are or not, there is still a chance that you could make it in. Obviously, the further along we get, there's guys that aren't able to, they didn't know about it, so they aren't together. But yeah, you may get a message from me or a call from me saying that we need to fill a spot. So just be aware.
Be ready.
All right. Let's move on to Super Farms. We have 3 spots to fill. This one was a gauntlet. First one, Shane Maston, Thumpin' Pumpkin. Next, Shane McFarland and the Ruttenbuck. I didn't update his picture. I copied and pasted this from last year. And the last one, I also didn't do this one. Don Slama and Fast and Furious.
That one was tough. Yeah, with only 3 spots available, that was gonna be a dogfight to make it in that class.
That'll be a good show. Good show.
Yeah, it really will be. I don't like full pull. When full pull goes places, I like it when full pull goes to places a little bit off the beaten path, and then the one random big dog shows up and you're like, oh, okay, I know how I'm gonna win money at this. Mm-hmm. But when you get these championship invite level pulls, if you want to lose money, bet on that class.
Yeah,
because anybody could win it.
So those are your 3 that made it.
Congratulations.
And rumor has it Don might not be driving.
Really?
He told us that if they made it in, his granddaughter might be driving.
Cool. Has she driven before, or will this be a debut?
She has. She has won before, I'm pretty sure as well.
Okay.
She has.
All right. Hopefully I change the pictures on the rest. 4-wheel drive trucks.
Here was
These are
another
big vote
stack
getters,
one.
right?
Yeah, more
Ethan
people
Pittsburgh,
voted in this
California
class.
Flash.
There's one of our California guys. Awesome. Good for them.
What a cool looking truck.
Next, Donnie Reeve, Final Drive.
They're West Coast.
Jason Bramer and Cornfed.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it'll be making its debut, right? That'll be
Well,
the first
Larry
back,
has big
I'm told.
emotions too.
Well,
Debut
you know,
back in their stable.
I call him my nephew, but he's not really. But he's good friend, and he's hauling my butt to Louisville tomorrow. So.
Nice.
In the corn-fed truck. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's going to be exciting. I know he was talking about that being the debut. So
Yep.
good for all them. The California truck's coming in strong too. Way to go.
Yep.
Yep.
Next, we got Terry Hagdorn. We'll have 2 trucks there with gunpowder and lead. Next, we got Chris Daniels, Baby Huey.
Is that a California one as well?
Also a California
That's what I
truck.
thought. Yeah. So the West Coast
I
guys,
think so.
and this was important to them. They wanted, like you talk about social media promotion, like they wanted this bad. They wanted to get in.
So
And
three of
last
them out.
one
Three of them out of
is
6.
John Bohr and Code
Oh,
3.
4 of them.
Cool.
4 of them.
4 of them.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. I mean, in the Midwest, you don't get to see that iron much, not at an outdoor pull in the summertime. So,
No.
or spring
Well,
anyway.
It's fun too because I know these guys are chomping at the bit, and the big thing they're trying to tell everyone is, hey, we've got good looking equipment but hard running equipment out here, but they don't, our guys get to go up against each other left and right, be PPL and TPA outlaw, but the West Coast guys don't get to come play in our sandbox very often, and now they're going to get to go side by side with the Jim Bosches and the Terry Hagerdorns and the Joe Claypools of the world, and they're going to see where they stack up, and that's going to be fun for them and fun for us.
I wonder what the cubic inches limit on the West Coast, because I know, like,
Great question.
I mean, I don't know what it is, but I know in the case of like Jason's truck and a couple other NTPA trucks, they're limited to 650, where the Hagedorn truck's not.
Mhm.
So that'll be interesting. I don't know what their trucks are out there. If somebody's watching on Facebook or something, let us know what the cubic inch limit is on the West Coast. These trucks, I see the one truck was from Nevada, somebody commented. So, but yeah, let us know. I'd be interesting to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was gonna say I think it's 650.
650.
Yep, there you go.
All right.
Okay.
And
very
the 650 guys will say they can run right with the mountain motors. They can run side by side. And I was even talking to a guy I'm becoming pretty good friends with, who had switched from a 650 over to the mountain motor when he switched organizations, and is now switching back to the 650. So don't think that smaller cubic inch means that they're not going to sprint down that track just with the best of them.
No. Any given track in the right combination, once again, it's not cubic inches. It's how good you get that to the ground.
Mhm.
And it's all about setup. And 4-wheel drive is such a fickle class. I mean,
I love it.
I've driven every division down the track, including semis and super farms and blah, blah, blah. But the 4-wheel drive class. Why? Because I don't want to bounce and look like an idiot. And I mean, Foster's have offered, Jason's offered, Peterson's have offered. I mean, but I've never driven one. I need to, so I can say I've driven every division. But yeah, I'm afraid that I'd be, and I don't want to do that.
All right, let's move on. 95 limited pro stocks. We got 5 spots to fill. And the first one is going to go to Michael Fanning and the Bad Habit. Next up, John Coots in the Diggin' Deer. Michael Rogier, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. Mike Gerlach in the G-Force. And last is Sydney Summers in Colorblind. Those are your 5.
Another good.
There
list
was
there.
there was some good. I'm looking at my list, and I'm not, I want to stay impartial. There must be a lot of good iron just out there all the way across, because there's a lot there's a lot of good 4-1s out there. I'll just leave it at that. That's good for those guys. This is going to be a heck of a pull. This is going to be a heck of a show. This is going to be awesome.
All right. Let's fill 8 light super stocks.
We going to see any smoke? Everybody wanted the smoke blowers.
First up,
Burn some alcohol.
Fuquay and the Tennessee Tracks. Brian Stramick in red.
Good for them.
Brandon Phillips, loud and light. Brent Payne and his new tractor, which I just called it Galot. I don't know what it's going to be. Dale Hogg, Big Temptation.
Cool.
Esden Lane, Digging Fever.
There's one
There
of
you
your
go,
key
Smoke.
smoke blowers.
Elmer Hogg, Little Temptation. And Brian Bowles, Alter Ego.
That tractor's a freaking bullet. When that thing is right, that thing, some tractors operate with power, some with torque. That thing is just an absolute speed machine. That thing's a bullet when it runs.
Yeah, that tractor gets wrenched down up here by Mondovi Tractor, and they tried telling Brian he doesn't need to run it as hard as he does, and he tells them to keep turning it up.
Yeah. I don't want it just set on kill. I want it set on destroy.
Yeah. Well, they had some issues with the head here the last year or two, and I think they finally have something has it figured out now, and so we'll see.
So we got one diesel on that list. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Very good. Good list.
Yeah, there were two diesels in the final 20 vote getting there.
3.
Was there 3? Okay, I missed one then.
Yep. So you had
Digging
Brian
Fever and
Henley.
Light Trouble.
Yep, and then you also had Little Bad Alice.
Okay.
Congratulations, light super stock tractor.
That Digging Fever tractor has run. It's a lot like the Digging Hard tractor, where it can kind of run. It'll run with the 8,000-pound diesel supers, and then shed weight and come down and run with the light supers. Whereas the Digging Hard tractor used to run with the light supers, and now it's kind of put on weight and sticks more in just the diesel class.
Yeah, the Digging Hard's tractor just didn't like running lightweight anymore. So they wanted to move it up. In the 460, they were able to lighten it up enough to switch it back to light super.
And they're stablemates, aren't they? Is that right?
Yep,
that's what I thought. I thought those were.
So that is a part ownership, and
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Dagenhart's has some things up their sleeve this year. Be on the lookout for that.
Anyway. They're I don't know how to say what I want to say. They kind of remind me of a Carlton Cope. Like, I don't ever want to call anyone underrated because they're still rated very, very, very highly. But like, they have all the skill set to show up and just win. Like, they're my dark horse pick anytime. Like, when you're trying to play the full pull and you're trying to bet on the guy where the odds are going to make you some money and you're looking for that interesting one, every time, give me the Digging Hard tractor because it can win at any given moment. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. Toma 2022 is a prime example of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Modified minis. We got 6 to fill here. First one, Abby Leichner, Bobcat Jr. Adam Kester, Footloose. Jeremy Nelson, Half Past Midnight. Jesselyn Fagundes, Bankroller. Reese Shelton, Cutting Up. Adam Kester, Beast of Burden. Those are the 6.
Strong list.
That's another one of those classes out there that there's how many mini rods did you find when you built your list? That's another that they're becoming the new 2-wheel drive truck class.
That's a great question. I don't remember.
There's a lot of them, and they're all, it seems like every last one of them is built excellently, and they're all driven by all-star rock star drivers. Like that is a class that's just everybody's got one. I don't know if it's maybe a little more affordable, or a lot of people are like, we've got the motors anyway, let's go ahead and build it. We'll call it a mobile engine stand. I've heard that said before. Cameron Neves or someone called it that. And yeah, like it seems like everybody's got one, and they're all stud drivers.
Randy Petro called it an engine stand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I feel like it's just they don't take up a lot of room in the trailer, and somebody has some extra room in the trailer. Just like, well, let's put one of them in there.
Well, and I know too, when like Brett Berg was running his 4-engine setup and 5-engine, now he's gone exclusively modified, but it used to be he would run that one in the unlimited modified too. And then he had a mini rod, and I don't know, but from a fan's point, I just always assume that, hey, I've got that extra motor, and why not earn some points with it? Why not put it on a chassis when it's not in the other class? And for all I know, he had 6 motors, but it was fun to think that, oh yeah, just that's the 5th one. And when he's not pulling unlimited, he's got it on a mini rod. They've got a spare motor somewhere. Put it on a chassis and earn some points with it.
Yeah. And to answer your question, 92 mini rods.
I would have thought it would have been higher. I really would have.
Is that all? My goodness, is that all?
200 4-wheel drive trucks.
Wow.
Well, that's only.
All right. Let's move on and finish things off with the pro stocks.
The fan
We
favorite.
have 8 to fill here. And the first one we got is going to be Mickey Shorter, Buck Eater 2.
Good choice.
Then we got Jason Svanovik's new bootlegger.
And is it new from the ground up? It's not
New
not
from
the
the
old
ground up.
bootlegger, and it's not bought and been rebranded bootlegger. It's new bootlegger.
Oh, it spent a lot of money. Let's build a new one.
Yeah.
Got Chris Hoyt, Nutcase. Esden Lemke, New Generation Plus. Braden Ceramic, Youngblood.
So they're bringing 2 vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Grayson Shelton, Classic 1206. Reese Shelton, Sleek 1066. And we'll know what it looks like after this weekend. And we'll round things off with Andrew and Brad Hartman, Meltdown.
The fans wanted to see more color in that class by the looks of things. That is not, and I've asked this question before. Do you vote for the winningest vehicles, or do you vote for the ones that you really, really like to see and really like to root for? And I think just the amount of color in a predominantly green class answers our question right there, with seeing the Case, seeing the Agco, seeing all those red ones.
So if everybody registers here and take our 2 already registered pullers, it would be 7 red, including ceramics, because technically under the hood it's red, and 3 John Deere.
It's been a long time since that's been the dynamic of a pro stock class. Think about it. And they've all been, for the longest time, not only John Deere's, but the big block John Deere, the 8000 series John Deere, where, they all look very comparable. So the fan, I feel like the fans made a statement there. The fans said, this is what we want to see at a pull. That's what makes this pull fun.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is. That's the 2024 full lineups, right, Brent? That's everyone that will be pulling at the Pullers Championship.
Yep.
Good list. Good list. That's exciting. And someone said, yes, it's going to be on the live stream, Mike. So even if you're at a track meet, you're going to be able to watch it.
That is great. That is a great idea, Matt. I'm sitting up there in the stands on my phone, and as my wife's hurdler wins gold, and she asks me on the way home, oh, what'd you think of that? And I was like, yeah, like 357.21. It was a hell of a hook, So we might be careful.
How long have you been married, Mike?
I think this is coming up on 7 years. So
Oh, well, then you're still enjoying each other. No, you're still acting like you're. Never mind.
The point is, I think I will watch the Sunday morning replay of the Pullers
There you go.
Championship if I'm
Good answer.
if I'm not there in person.
Good answer.
Way to go, Mrs. Edel. You got a good one.
Or he's a friggin' liar. One of the two.
A real good liar. Yep. You got a good one. That's cool. Congratulations to all the Pullers that got voted in.
Yes.
Exciting times. A lot of them have really good friends and family helping them out. There's a few there that I know are making their debuts back with fresh engines, brand new builds. That's exciting, right? What a way to go out there and compete against the champions in many of these major, pulling sanctions and see what you got with the new setup. So very cool. And
and something about this event too is it's before all the points hooks, so it is almost a testing tune. You can see where you stack up before the season starts. Try to make some good money out of it as well. Last year we paid $5,000 to all the winners. We're pretty positive that's going to be guaranteed again this year.
Cool.
And yeah, we'll just we're looking forward to it again. May 17th and 18th.
And
Track
a
a
question.
whole hours.
We talked about having 3 or 4 four-wheel drives from California. What about the other classes? Good question. How many other West Coast entries do we have, Brent, in the other classes?
So with Jesslyn Fagundes is a mini rod. That'd be another West Coaster. We have one right now from Canada. That'd be Randy Overton. There is a possibility of maybe a mod coming from California or more? Question mark.
Oh yeah, I forgot about because you've got the promoter's choice classes that still have some. So we have not actually 100% seen the definitive list of everyone that's going to be at this pool. There's still a few out there waiting in cyberspace that have got to commit. That's okay.
Yep. So there's going to be quite a few. Right now we only have 4 of hopefully 10 mods coming. Right now we only have 1 of hopefully 5 or 6 unlimiteds coming, and right now we only have 4 potentially 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 semis coming, and then 7 diesel supers. We still have 3 more to fill, and we're not too worried about it. Most of them are just like, let's see what happens after farm show.
Mm-hmm.
That'll make a big difference on some of them, whether they've got to rebuild it or tune it up better.
Exactly.
Well, and then some of them are going to go from the farm show to the truck show then too. So that overlaps a little bit. Pulling's growing. I mean, there's more hurdles to jump through. That's a bad word for it. There's more opportunities to win and or break before we get to,
you are a good husband.
I'm something.
That was a pretty good, nice little segue back to it. Those 110 yards, and you got to go over 110 feet. You bet. This will be a great show.
Is your wife watching right now, or
absolutely not? She tolerates tractor pulling at the best. She will go. She has gone to. Well, here I'll tell you this story, Larry, and this is the route I took her on with truck and tractor pulling. And you talk about our marriage, and I realized quickly on, well, hey, if we made it through that, we're going to make it through anything. I went to Toma, Wisconsin in 2018, and this was my first super national pull. And since then, I go to the big shows left and right, and I just kind of live at them. But we decided we're going to pull the camper up there. We're going to all sessions. We get up there Wednesday night and park the camper, and I proceed to treat it like it's Bowling Green's campground. And I met some friends, and it was I was on all fours. And I was not speaking in paragraphs. And I forget to tell you, my wife is 7 months pregnant with our first kid. And then we get up the next day, and the first show we go to is the Unlimited Mods. And I am hungover beyond recognition. And she is 7 months pregnant, and she has to sleep in a party campground camper. She didn't divorce
me. I take that back. You're not a good husband. I take that back. You're not a good. She's a good wife.
Yeah, there. Now you're figuring things out. So tractor pulling, she treads lightly, but we made it through. We survived Toma, so we can survive anything. And we've taken each of our kids. Keep in mind, this Toma's 7 hours away from where we live, but each of our kids, when we decided they were old enough to go to their first tractor pull, we took them up to Toma, because if we're going to do it, we're going to do it big and we're going to do it right. So
Well,
we don't
good job.
we don't stay in the campground anymore.
Huh. Have you taken the children to the Wisconsin Dells while you're up there?
No, we rode on the bike trail over there in Sparta. They got that big long bicycle trail in Sparta.
Trail. Yep. That goes right through Norwalk. If you take it, eventually hit the Norwalk lines truck and tractor pull.
We did.
I thought about the bike trail, and then I woke up. Yeah.
Larry, not a lot of fond memories riding your bike on the bike trail?
A few years ago, Linda and I both bought a brand new Schwinn. True story. You can't make this up. And her bike, when we finally gave them away to our oldest daughter and her husband, my bike still had the bell, ching, 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 and looked just like new. I mean, just like new. Like it probably had been ridden to the corner and back, which would be almost a half a mile total. Anyway, Linda's bike, it didn't look weathered and bad because we kept it inside, but it looked like it had been ridden. And I told my son-in-law, Bill, I said, Bill, I saved this bike just for you, man. Anyway, but yeah, it's like I say, the bike trail up there, everybody talks about it. It's great. And I'll be happy to watch video of somebody else's bike trip if they need to. Yeah.
We'll record it next time and send it to you. So you're saying you never changed the oil in your bicycle then? It was still it was all OEM parts.
Didn't have to oil the chain, didn't have to do nothing. I think I did have to air the tires up because they'd gone down sitting there for 3 or 4 years.
This is awesome. This is great. Looking at all those classes from the Pullers Championship, one thing I like to do is kind of play the game within the game, and everyone wants to talk about, who's the best driver, who's going to win or whatever. Sometimes I try to look at it and say, well, which class is presenting the show of the night all the way across the board? And I thought the Super Farms were going to be really, really hard to pick a winner. But now that I see who's voted in and everything's lining up, the diesel trucks, that would be a tough one when you've got Scheid and then you've also got Van Hazley, and then you've got the Cummins killer, which has just got things figured out right now.
Deep water. Yeah.
Like that's going to be that's going to be a fun one to watch too. You guys, Brent, you guys have done a heck of a job and you've built a heck of a show doing this thing.
Yep. It's going to be a tremendous event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, we're trying our best. We're trying to do something different outside the box, trying to draw more eyes to the event. And, hopefully eventually I'm hoping this works and becomes a, more than just two sessions. It becomes bigger, more classes, and who knows, down the road, maybe it's its own series, couple events, have like a, something, and where you have multiple events throughout the summer or, throughout the year somehow. And
sure,
you can do more on top of what we're already doing. And, we've discussed on where we want to be in 5-10 years. And, I think we're on track to where our vision was for the first 5 years. So hopefully we see that growth that we did, last year from the first year, and that will really tell on where we're at. And, hopefully, our sponsorship dollars are where it was or more from last year. And as right now, sponsorship's going pretty well. So we'll know more here in the next couple months. And, it's crazy to think that, it's really about 3 months away, and it seems like a long time, but we're going to blink and it's going to be here. And then I literally have no life for the last month before the event. It's just nonstop, making sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, all those things. And I'm excited. I think the fan voting this year was awesome. There's a lot of competitors that I'm glad to see make it in this year. In years past, they haven't been able to for a reason or the other, or they wanted to see where the event went first. And, it's encouraging that we have these big names that are wanting to come to our event. And
the biggest thing I see working against you is some of them that are still farmers.
Yep.
it's awful early.
Yep.
And if you do evolve into a second event, I would say do one in the fall. So you got a spring event, and then you have a finale at the end of the
Yep.
season.
Mhm.
That would be my recommendation. But
Yeah,
no, it's
and that's
awful
probably
early.
what we would do. Obviously, you fall into harvest still, you fall into breakage, different things like that. But I think it's sky's still the limit almost. In terms of polling, there's still a lot of things out there that haven't been done. Brian Lively posted something. Sick week has their drag race week. Things like that. That's an idea that can you make it work in polling? Maybe. Yeah, it just take some brains and some ideas to try to figure that out. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully this turns into something big. I've always said if we get the size of Bowling Green, you will not. I don't know what the numbers are at Bowling Green, but I crunched numbers and I can tell you that our payout would be like $1.5 million or more.
Yeah,
just
Total
for
total
sessions.
purse.
Yeah.
Be total purse, yeah. And I think
like winners would take home like $60,000-$70,000.
Yeah, so to put that in perspective, and to become a super national pool, they measure your super national status based on the total purse for the event show. And I know when I was in Chapel Hill this last summer, it's one of the few places where they actually post on their sign, and there's one coming into town, and it says over $150,000 worth of prizes paid. So to just put what Brent's talking about into perspective here, $150,000 total purse is obviously something that is considered a substantial purse. So if you got Bowling Green numbers and you were able to put 1.5 million, into drivers' pockets, that would be something truly remarkable in the world of truck and tractor pulling. And wouldn't you know, shoot, we had 200 four-wheel drive trucks to sort through this year. You'd have 500 to sort through in every class because everybody would want to be at this pull then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, there's still the ideas and things that we're talking about for the future. And if things work out, that's the name of the game. And one thing I did want to bring up, too, that's interesting in fan voting that I see every year, first round of fan voting, there's guys that barely make the cut that still make it in round two, or vice versa. They were at the top in round one of fan voting and they didn't make the cut in round two. So just because you make it in and you do really well in round one does not mean that that's going to be the same. We'll just take the four-wheel drive trucks. You're going from 200 trucks down to 20. Those numbers now that all these people are voting for the other 180 have to vote for other trucks. And so that's what's kind of cool about it as well, is that things change. You look at round one and you're just like, oh, well, that's kind of how it's going to be for no, not even close. It definitely, the numbers switch around, and the pullers, they fluctuate in there. Obviously you still have your big name pullers that they usually do well no matter what, but some of the other guys at state level, regional level pullers, or pullers out in different regions of the country that don't pull a lot, that we don't get to see a lot. I mean, it's kind of cool that, they still have the opportunity to make it in. And obviously look at the West Coast guys, they made it. So,
well, what that says to me is that truck and tractor pulling that obviously has some incredibly passionate individuals, and the fact that we have these passionate individuals that are that far away from our bread and butter here of the Midwest tells me that the sport itself is growing, because it takes a lot of votes to get trucks out there that, the three major organizations aren't exposed to very much to get into a pull like this. So those people being willing to be that passionate and vote that regularly, they obviously care a lot about the sport, and obviously the sport is reaching new places, which should make everybody excited when it comes to truck and tractor pulling. That's what we're trying to bring this back to the glory days of the late 80s and early 90s, and then go beyond that, and I think we're close, if not already there.
We ought to have a show that says, let's grow pulling.
That's like when you're watching a TV show and they say the name of the show in the dialogue. It's just such a satisfying payoff.
I mean, Matt and I both, we've never seen pulling grow like this. We ought to have a show, Matt, that says, let's grow pulling. And then a guy that's in charge of it not come on the air, but that's okay, because it's Jason, and he's feverishly working, shining up whatever the new name of the tractor is.
Speaking of it, there's your segue. So let's talk about. I've got some plugs and some things I want to talk about for Louisville next
Can I
week.
tie TPC into Louisville here quick?
Do whatever you need to do, man. I will.
Yeah.
I can be here all night.
So I don't
you're
have
driving the
Schultz's
bus.
booth
You're
number.
driving the bus.
Do you have it offhand here, Michael?
What?
Schultz's booth number?
Hey, Brent. 3190. Or we will be in booth 3194. Come and see us.
Yep. So stop by the Beer Money Pulling Team booth at Louisville, and there are 1,000 laminated like poster-sized calendars from all the champions from the Pullers Championship last year, as well as Billy Beers is one for the Unlimited. To add all 12 to have January to December 2024 calendar. It's a nice little collector, I guess, item. We know a lot of people like, things like that. So get that there as well. You'll see our ad in the program as well. So if you see that, tag us in social media, post it. We encourage that. We like seeing people showing us, those things. Obviously, I'm not going to be there. So if anybody does have it, send it to me. I haven't seen it.
Well, and don't forget, Growing Corn 2020 is going to be in the booth
Yes,
for
he
2 or
is.
3 hours on Friday.
Yep.
So he'll be there and take photos and sign autographs and all that happy horse bucky that you do when you're popular on TikTok.
And the unveiling of Mr. Jason Schultz's tractor as well will be in the booth.
A new pulling vehicle. You know what's funny? We started teasing that. People are just as fired up with the cover. It's got like a black, just protective cover that goes around it. And we were coming up with these creative posts, and we were trying to get people engaged.
Queen?
Huh?
You mean this queen? This queen's what you're saying? It's got a black cover on it, like you cover silage with. You're talking Visqueen, right? I'm sorry.
I'll take
Plastic,
your word for it.
6 mil plastic.
I don't know
what it is.
He's
He's got the tractor covered up. But everyone wants one. The biggest comment was not, what are you going to call it? What is it? Whatever. Everyone's like, dude, how can we get a cover like that for our tractor? That's an excellent cover.
It's literally a bed sheet. So there you go, guys. Go get
It's seriously it. Well, they were like, oh, Doug made this. Like, this is a Doug Board special. And I'm like, oh, I don't know necessarily everything Doug does. I know he helped in the studio.
That's what Jason told me.
Go to TSC and ask for silage Visqueen. That's all it is. Throw a couple tires around it to hold it down in case wind blows. It's the same thing.
Let it flap in the breeze. Let it flap in the breeze. What day is that getting debuted, by the way? Is that going to be the first day, or is there a big
Wednesday? Night? So, yep. Let's just go ahead and talk about everything that might be happening at booth 3194, Beer Money Pulling. So for anyone watching, the story kind of goes like this. Jason sat by his mailbox. Jason, of course, the group purchased Mike Beck's high-tech redneck tractor, which is hiding beneath that bed sheet right there. It is going to be the new Beer Money tractor, and they applied to pull at Louisville. And sadly they did not get accepted to pull at Louisville. And Jason kind of, we know how he thinks and how he does things. And he's like, hey man, I'm still taking the tractor to Louisville. So we have rented a booth. But it's going to be a pretty neat ordeal and everything we're doing with this booth. Obviously brand new Beer Money merchandise is going to be available there. They're unveiling the tractor. Whatever is underneath this high-tech sheet right here will be unveiled. As my understanding, I don't think he's going to hold on to it till Friday or Saturday. But Wednesday, February 14th, I think as soon as they open the doors, you'll be able to come by and take pictures, and you will see what it's called and what it looks like.
Jason's ego alone will uncover that. He won't have to touch it. God and Jason's ego will lift the veil and show everyone, including us, if we care to look, at what it is underneath the Visqueen from TSC.
So I was looking at the floor map of Louisville, and I noticed that we ended up with one of the, it's not huge, but it's like two of the smallest. It's a double booth basically. And I assume that's what it was for, because if you're going to have the tractor plus Jason Schultz, plus maybe myself there, we're going to need that much room just to get the heads and the personalities and the talking to fit.
Well,
So
and you're close to the restroom, which is convenient with the bullshit that's going to be. I'm sorry, it's convenient with the. It's just convenient, dang it. So if
it's
you gotta
handy.
go,
It's handy.
if you got to go pee, you stop by booth 3194.
3194.
It's
It's right by Freedom Hall. We're really close to the track, but we're going to be doing. We're also going to be partnering up with Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling. They're going to be there doing some promotional work as well. Brands like Coltrane Energy Drink are going to be there, so you can come by and get a Coltrane. But the pet project that I've been working on. Have you tried your Coltrane yet, Larry?
Haven't got it yet. Haven't received it. Still waiting by the mailbox.
It's in the great state of Missouri.
But you know what? It's actually an official sponsor of the Pro Pulling League. And Jonathan's going to bring some to Broadbent Arena, and I'm going to personally submit myself to an energy drink.
You will not be disappointed, and you won't sleep.
I had one at Hillsboro. So I was up a week to 10 days, but no problem.
You'd be talking as fast as me then, Larry. Be careful.
Hey, $1 bit of now too.
I don't want to talk that fast.
The other thing that's going to be happening at booth 3194, and this is more for people that are going to be watching from home. If you did not have the ability to come to Louisville, Kentucky, the National Farm Machinery Show, come on to Beer Money Pulling Team Facebook page or Beer Money Pulling Team group Facebook page. We've got 2 of them. And check out our Facebook Live. We're going to be doing live driver interviews. I'm going to be catching up with some drivers, and I'll go ahead and reveal that list right here. People that will be coming by. So if these are individuals that you want to hear all about their setup, how they pull, why they pull, what's the behind the scenes, I'm going to do everything I can to bring that information to all you fans out there. So here is a list of pullers who have committed to interviewing but have not yet picked their time slot. And then I'll kind of let you know the time slots of others. If there's a specific driver you're hoping to listen to, you'll more or less be able to tune in around this time. So we're going to be hanging out and talking with Josh Blackburn, driving the Extremely Armed and Dangerous, is going to come by and talk with us. Evan Smoot, the driver of the Barnyard Bandit, is going to slip in when he has time. Brandon and Larry Phillips, I've been ongoing. I just was messaging them before I got on the show tonight. The drivers of Loud and Light and Insanity are going to come by and hang out. Mark Roberts said, I messaged him quite some time ago. He says that he thinks he'll be able to. He drives the Spanky's Toy Super Farm. Donnie Sullivan, who did an awesome interview with us here on Let's Grow Pulling about a month and a half ago, the driver of Big Stick, is going to come by and chit chat with us. Craig and Ashley Corzine are going to come and hang out. That's an interview that I am very much looking forward to. Craig Corzine is one cool dude, and his mod, if they ever change the naming rights to Freedom Hall, it might become Corzine Hall, because that mod dominates in Freedom Hall. That second degree burn mod does really well there. And then my other awesome interview that Matt and I had the other night, Jeff Hurt, his exact words on Facebook when I messaged him were, "We can work something out." So hopefully Jeff is going to come by and put on Jeff's a great interview. Jeff's one of the best people in truck and tractor pulling to talk to. If you're looking for specifics on Wednesday morning, Ike Zering is going to be at our booth between 10 and 11 o'clock. The driver of the four-wheel drive truck he calls the Bucket List. Coming by about 3:30 Wednesday evening, Jamie Yonke, who pulls with us in the Outlaws on her limited pro stock she calls 4-1, or she calls Moving On, her 4-1 pro stock called Moving On. Beautiful 1066. And then Thursday, we are full of awesome iron. Chris Ashleman, digging for a living, is going to start us off at 10 o'clock in the morning. Dustin Corliss and Mindy Brown, who both are stablemates, two-wheel drive truck pullers from the Outlaw organization, pulling the Texas Bullseye and Little Whip. They're going to come by at about between 11 and noon. Danny and Kevin Schmucker, driving the Rampage and Get Her Done Deers, are going to come by between noon and 1 on Thursday. Travis Slawbach and the Bone Twister is going to talk to us between 1 and 2. Ryan Mitchell with the Hostile Environment, the one that's got the Bush Light corn beers on the side of it, he's going to come by and hang out with us. And then Jacob Ohl and the Just Add Dirt Limited Pro Stock tractor, the beautiful red tractor with the Pioneer Seed emblem on the side. Braden and Brian Stramick are going to try to sneak in, I think, sometime Thursday, maybe Friday. Cameron Neves and Seth Markey from McAdoo, Texas, driving the Cotton Candy and the High Cotton. They're going to come by at about 11 o'clock on Friday. Keith Witt and Brady Ingram. This is a fun story. I messaged Brady Ingram on Facebook, and I said, hey, would you be willing to come by and interview us? Says, that sounds good. And then I messaged the Witt Farms pulling team, and I didn't know the connection. And I was like, hey, would you guys be interested? And then Brady messages me. He's like, hey, Mike, I'm running both those Facebook pages. The answer is yes still. So him and Keith are going to come by and interview with us. And then our final one on Friday night is going to be the entire Theobald family. We're going to have Doug and Renee. And I hope they bring the boys because I need a third signature. This hero card has traveled from, we got this in Fort Recovery. We got Doug's signature in Fort Recovery. We drove down to Brandenburg and got Renee's signature. And I think Grant was standing there the whole time, and I didn't get Grant's signature. So I want Grant and Mason's signature on that too. Truck and tractor pullers. If you're a truck and tractor puller pulling at the National Farm Machinery Show and you are interested in doing an interview with us, to tell us something cool about your tractor, to promote something that's going on in your organization, to just, hang out at the Beer Money Pulling Team booth, reach out to me and we will absolutely get you worked in there. If you know a truck and tractor puller who wants to interview with us, please, please, please reach out and we will make time for you guys. That's going to be on Facebook Live. Those are the ones we have lined up to talk to. Booth 3194, the tractor is going to be on display. The cold train is going to be cold. Me and Jason are going to be loud. The pullers are going to be giving interviews. It's going to be an awesome time. And we haven't even bumped the sled yet. That's my 3194 rundown.
Nice job.
Yeah, then the awkward silence set in.
Yeah, here we are. Then there's Larry and me. Yeah.
Well, Brent's still there.
Yeah.
Larry's got news. Because I didn't know any of this. Larry's here to talk to us about what's going on with the Pro Stock class.
Okay.
What's going on with the Pro Stock class, Larry?
The photos that I sent, can you pull those two photos up? The Pro Stock, it's got a 6.5-inch inlet. Supposedly, there's only like 2 turbochargers out there that fit that criteria, and they're made by Weimer and Hart. And supposedly, we had a compressor failure on a dyno, and the compressor split. And we've already, PPL and the farm show had already put a blanket around the compressor on all turbos. But on the 6-inch turbo, they've added a restraint system that actually, in the event the compressor would fail and try to split, actually split in two, it's a compressor restraint system. And when this happened on the dyno, Mike Witt, of course, in charge of the tractor pull committee, got with Jonathan Mears and myself, and we called John Bammer out in the West Coast. There you go. Actually, it's a ring that goes around the inlet and the other side where it's actually goes the center section, and it straps. And between Bammer Engineering and Taylor Safety Equipment, that system was made to actually hold the two halves of the compressor together in the event it does bang and split. And then the blanket, of course, will contain any shrapnel that may try to escape. But nevertheless, this is something new. This is only something that the farm show has imposed. It's not become a rule with PPL yet. And also, I don't even think the folks at NTPA knew it was coming until they got the same email that the pullers got from the Championship Tractor Pull Committee that told them this was going to be required. But every Pro Stock tractor out there with an inlet 6 inches or larger is required to have this under their blanket. and there's 2 different sizes, one for the Weimer and one for the Hart turbo. And but no, it's something new. Like anything else, it's it a little bit of opposition, but not much, because everybody knew that it could happen, and I guess it did on a dyno. And it's one of those deals. It's an innovation, and the farm show is where it's going to be debuted at, and I look for it to carry over, especially into the PPL ranks with the big turbo. But it's a safety item, 100% safety, weighs about 4 pounds. So anybody going to complain about weight? The question was asked, why didn't they just build a steel box around the turbo to contain all this? Well, that's all fine and good, but most of these hoods are pretty full underneath it, and really couldn't build one and make it efficient enough or contain enough where this is reminiscent of a blower restraint. It keeps the blower on top of the manifold. Same thing. In fact,
yeah.
when they wondered what to call it, I said, why not call it a compressor restraint? Because it's restraining the compressor from going bang. And that's what they called it. And that they're available through the farm show. And about everybody's already received theirs and should have it on when they come into Broadbent. There'll be some available in case they didn't get one on. There'll be some available, but they're bought through the farm show. They didn't make any money on it if they count the shipping when they had 48 of them shipped from Oregon. They didn't make any money. They may actually lost some money, but it's about a $300 system. I mean, that in today's world of truck and tractor pulling, $300 doesn't seem like much, but it's like anything else. It's a safety device. It's preventative maintenance. If one of those split and it threw blades or compressor fins into the crowd, especially when you're as close as you are in Freedom Hall, we can't afford to have that. So, but it is imposed by the Tractor Pull Committee at Broadbent and Freedom Hall, the Kentucky Exposition Center. But it's, like I say, it's not become a rule yet anywhere else, but I look for it to catch on. And if somebody pops one, I look for it to prove itself.
Louisville is the White House or the capital of like truck and tractor pulling. It's a standalone pull, but so much like if things happen, they almost always, I won't say almost always, but it's not uncommon for it to have started at Louisville and then it works its way into the norms and the regulations elsewhere. And that's really good on Louisville to be self-aware, to know that they're that is their role, to be the number one in pulling. This all just makes sense. I don't see any competitor unless, it's another rule, it's another thing, but 4 pounds, $400. I don't see anybody having any issues with this.
Well, and like I say, compressor did split on the dyno, I guess. And it showed that there was a possibility of one happening, and we just don't need to hurt anybody.
Right.
That's all there is to it. And since Louisville is a lot like the Pullers Championship, it's a sampling of all organizations. It's not loyal to one organization over any of the rest of them. And I mean, it's truly the best of the best that applies for being considered. And they do select a finite number of people. But the Pro Stock is the most popular class out there. And to have something that's potentially a danger or could happen, they had to address it. And after it actually came forward on the dyno, if we hadn't known it yet, maybe it wouldn't have been addressed yet. But the fact that people are blowing stuff up on the dyno right and left, back when I had hair, nobody had a dyno. You had to take it to the track to explode it. And now, hell, they're throwing parts that block walls and steel ceilings. And I mean, it's changed the sport. The whole dynamic of the sport's changed since the dyno got more popular and more accessible. But this is just one little thing. And I posted on Facebook the other day, if you want to know what's going on in the pits, this is something new. And it only applies to the big Pro Stock class with an inlet larger than 6 inches.
But that would be the majority of them, right? Like, so there's the 5.0 class. People refer to like the 5.0. And then after the 5.0, there's no one's got a turbocharger that's like, 5.5 inches or something. Are we going straight from the 5.0 to the 6.5? Is that the way I understand it?
Before they went to 6 inch, there was some out there, 5 3/4, 5.5. I know Tim Kane had had one before he went to the bigger Charger. I mean, that it's like everything else. It's baby steps. And then when Weimer and Hart come out with a Charger that was 6-inch and it worked, oh my God, we've all got to have it. And so that's the evolution of the sport. I don't care what class it is.
Yeah,
right.
I can only imagine that every puller that's going to be pulling in Freedom Hall this weekend is going to be larger than 6-inch.
Yeah.
In the pro stock class, yes, it'll be at least 6 inches.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. There's nobody running a turbocharger that's smaller than 6-inch that's not already running in what we call the 5.0 pro stock class.
Right.
Okay.
Those tractors, like Chris Kane, he went back to the 5.0 class because he had a smaller Charger and the tractor lives a lot longer. His daughter's driving it. They're having family fun again. But no, anybody that's in the pro stock class is going and competes on a regular basis at a Grand National or a Championship Series or Louisville is going to have a 6-inch or bigger Charger. PPL did go ahead and limit it to 6.5-inch Charger inlet. I don't know that NTPA's done that yet. They were still around 6 inches, but we're going to stop it at 6.5 inches for now. Of course, there'll be somebody want to try a 7, and but like I'm saying, well, there's always one. But right now, about all of them, especially the heavier hitters, are running one of those 2 type Chargers, and they're 6.5-inch. That's the limit, and that's what they're running. They all turn it right to the edge, But it's something that we'll be checking in tech, not only the inlet size, but to make sure that blanket was underneath there, that restraint was under the blanket. And they all had to send in a picture of all classes, turbocharged, of the cage assembly that was controversial before Shipshewana, the actual cage assembly. And they have to have 2 half-inch bolts besides the cage assembly in the exhaust pipe right next to the cage. So NTPA doesn't require that. PPL is going to, but the farm show did. So a couple rules there the farm show led the way on, and I really think that this restraint system is something. I know it was needed after I saw the photos of the aftermath, but it'll do a lot of good. And I think the farm show, like I say, only 1 or 2 guys balked at it. And then when they talked to the guy that knew the guy that had the dyno it went bang in, they shut up because they've all got that turbocharger, one of those 2 models. So, but yeah, I feel like it's a thing to do, and I feel proud to be a part working for the farm show in Broadbent. I feel proud that we're doing something good and trying to save another life or 2.
You are teching at Broadbent. You're going to work and help on the tech side at Louisville.
Well, I'm going to oversee a lot of tech, and I'm going to be the bottom line on whether they got the exhaust in there or not. I'll be the guy running the bore scope, looking down your pipe, going, it's in there. But yeah, I'll be working for Pro Pulling League, and but I'm still working for the farm show, and I always did their fuel and water for years. And I don't know if I'm going to do that again this year or not. I asked what my job assignment was the other day, and nobody seems to know. And Mike Witt said, well, what do you want to do, Larry? And I said, well, ride around on my hover round scooter and bark orders. He goes, we'll work on that. So if you see a blue mobility scooter, because my fat butt don't walk that good that far. Matt seen me climb the grandstand the other night. It's scoot drag is how I walk. But anyway, if you see a blue mobility scooter buzzing around, all I got to say is the horn's not that loud. Get the hell out of the way.
How many years have you worked at Louisville helping out and operating in the enforcement operations?
At least 25. I don't honestly know. I've got farm show pins up here on a bulletin board in my office, and there's at least 25 up there.
Have you ever had anything get really squirrely? You'd think by the time you make it to the farm show, you're dealing with, people who pretty much know what their setup's supposed to look like. I'm not asking for names or specifics, but can you say like, oh yeah, there was this night where we had to drop the hammer.
That's funny right there. That is a funny statement. Ha ha. Well, my job was primarily fuel and violations of fuel. And when they come back from Freedom Hall, I would weigh them back and then draw a fuel sample from every division, methanol and all. And then I checked the fuel. And there was a couple times when there was a violation or two. But see, I always offer during the day, if they want to bring their fuel in and get it checked, I'll tell them exactly where they're at. So it's not one of those, well, I just dumped a little in. I didn't know I dumped too much in. You know, you've got a criteria. And now the NTPA and Pro Polling League and the Outlaws all have the exact same fuel spec. So it's not like they're used to running this and, oh my God, now we got to run that. They're exact same fuel spec and have been for 4 or 5 years now. So they should know where they're at. And a lot of guys actually have their own fuel meter and check it, but it's still got to be, the final check's got to be by the one that we're using at the farm show. So if I was pulling, I would definitely take a sample in. I mean, don't take, you know, half a pint, coffee cup full or less, and say, here, check this. Am I okay? And I think they're foolish if they don't. But no, I have had some violations, and some people have been excused and told load up. I didn't tell them that. When I started helping them, I said, I don't want to make any ruling. I will do the testing, and I will tell you, the committee, the findings, and then you decide what you're going to do with them. And if you want me to give you some advice, I'll tell you what I would do with them in the summertime, but I won't say a word if you don't. But they've always been real good about running a tight ship, and 3 or 4 of them have failed over the years. Yes.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, you can't do the job that you do and that never happen. You know, that's within the nature of, if you never expected that to happen, then they wouldn't have someone checking it, you know? So by the nature of the fact that rule exists, or that position exists, you know that from time to time that is going to happen. Yeah. So,
and I have several people come in and basically spend the day sitting in a chair in a warm room, and that'd be like Joe Singer and people like that. And he'd say, you're just about good enough for checking that by looking at it and smelling it. You don't have to put the meter on it. And I'll, say, well, this is going to check 145, and I'll put it in there, and I'll be pretty close. Yeah. But it's very satisfying. I get to see my summer family in the wintertime and get to see everybody and still have a job. If I'm not involved somehow with the sport at that event, I have a hard time attending that event.
Yeah.
I don't watch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not a spectator.
Larry, I'm looking over your shoulder, and you know what that reminds me that we have not talked about? I'm looking at those big full pull stickers back there. What about the $1,000 worth of play money to real money that's on the line at the farm show? Are you guys how many of you guys are going to try your hand at that a little bit?
Well, I just lost money on the slots this weekend when I went ice fishing and stayed at the casino. So gotta try to win some money back somehow, right?
Well, and they've got a definitive list now, so they're open and ready to take their wagers. So yeah, that's it'll actually be the first event where you can actually make or lose money. But yeah, it's a big deal, and it's going to flourish. So
they're giving you the 1,000 play money up front, right? That they're doing a deal where you can bet with the 1,000 play money, and the winner of whoever walks away with the highest bank account of the play money wins $1,000 real money, is the way that I understand how it's all going to work. And I was out at their website a little bit ago. Man, like, there's people out there who understand betting better than me, because the thing about betting and winning one of these competitions, they utilize the odds, and I think the odds update based on the bets that are being placed. I roll through and I say, well, here's who I like, or here's who I think is going to win a truck and tractor pull. But the way I think you win these is by taking a little bit of money and strategically placing it on the guy who's got 48-1 odds. And then when that guy finishes top 3, all of a sudden now you're sitting on big cash, and you roll that background. But Full Pull is doing $1,000 giveaway on the betting challenge. And the last I saw, Wednesday and Thursday nights are already open to make your picks and selections on
I have a question on the 1,000 to start. Is that something if you open a new account, or is that existing accounts like ours that I've actually made a little money on? Are we getting a $1,000 bonus because it's Louisville, and then top pick gets that actual $1,000 to bet on? What is the story there? Somebody help me.
I don't know. That's Chase Richardson or OJ question. I don't know.
My account has never started with more than 0, Matt. So I like the way you add it. So when they give us 1,000, it just says 1,000, and then I go through because I am not good. I am not good at knowing how to bet. Now they did something like this at Diesels and Dark Corners. It was very comparable, and the big lesson I learned there was you're not just picking winners and then winning money because you picked the right winner. They're paying you back in the play money, and you can't just ignore it. Like the first night I was like, oh, cool, I won this first class. And then I just sat there waiting for my hat to show up in the mail, not realizing that you want to take that money and then place it on the next class. And then once you win that one, so there's strategy. Think about
it.
A
parlay.
And Jason and I, we kind of talked about this, or I commented on his Facebook. They do give live odds on who there is to win. And I think the way odds work, because I'm not a betting guy, is based on who's betting on what. And one of the longest long shots, the dark horse pick in the mod class, is Ricky Rose and the Giddy Up Tractor at like 38-1. Now you're telling me that you're going to bet against Ricky Rose at 38-1. Like someone's going to bet on Ricky, and he has the ability to win that thing. Like that is a strong 38. So go take your $1,000, slap it on Ricky Rose. And I don't teach math, I teach English, but I think it's like 38 times 1. And that's like $38,000 then, or something like that. You would make a lot of money.
Look who's joining us right
now.
Can
you guys hear me?
Some answers. Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh my goodness.
So 3 out of 4 of you are doing a fantastic job tonight. Rich, why you still suck? That's what I'm saying.
He's done wonderful tonight. I've had.
Hey, Jason, when you make it to Louisville, he's going to check your fuel really extra special close now.
Well, you damn straight I am. Yeah.
I'm driving my Tesla. I ain't got no gas in it.
Ain't got no gas in it.
Ain't got no gas in
anyway.
It. Yeah. Well, you know what? All I got to say is that tractor better stay on display, because as soon as it gets to the Pullers Championship, wonder how that got accepted, he's going to have to pass tech. I may have influence on tech. Not that I would ever hold a grudge or ever have, but we're going to get out the rule book. We're going to look, and there's going to be every damn bolt's got to be tight and the right size bolt.
And I'm gonna video the whole thing and put it on YouTube.
I don't care.
No, I don't either. It'll be good. We'll make some money on it. So I like it.
There's some training films up there now on fuel test and other stuff on YouTube. And it was Larry Richwine was your host.
I'll be darned.
You're in the Tesla. Is that why we got a bad picture? All the electricity in that car is going to the friggin' wheels.
Well, I'm driving through Chicago about 90 miles an hour, so I thought I should just turn off my camera because I don't want any proof of that. So it's all good.
Fit right in with us here. Help us out, Jason. What's the story on this?
I want to jump. So everybody, so you don't get to keep any of your money from last time. They're getting ready to roll out real money a little bit later this year. So this is going to be a good test. So whether you did really good at Diesels and Dark Corners in California, everybody's starting with a fresh $1,000. Nope, You don't get a bankroll. So everybody gets in there, you get your $1,000 play money. And like Mike said, whoever turns that into the most money wins real money. Now, Senpico did step up, and they're the ones that gave the $1,000 for the first prize. So I do want to give a shout out to Senpico on that. But it's really fun. Mike, you're right on. The money is following the odds. That's how the odds are getting taken. I've spent my $1,000 already. I'm kind of doing what you're doing, Mike. Because right now, if you look at Wednesday night, I think at first RJ Simon was ahead of Tinker Toy.
Yeah, so Tinker Toy is ahead of Loud and Heavy X, which, I mean, not throwing any shade at anyone, but that did Loud and Heavy X. I mean, they own, pro stocks here recently. So Tinker Toy, that's an interesting.
It sounds like betting words to me, Mike. You want to put that where your mouth is. That might work out for you.
Mike, I'm going to record that and write that down. They own pro stock. Do you know what Masterson family has done at Freedom Hall? Come on, man. Muted your mic. That way I can't hear you talk. Yeah. Okay.
So, Chandler, if you could bring up fullpull.us, for those of you, either go on the web store or go to the app store, type in Full Pull app, or you can just go to fullpull.us. But to Mike's point, I made a TikTok or I made a Snapchat and I said, come on, you guys think that RJ Simon's going to beat Tinker Toy. And about 5 minutes later, I get a Snapchat from RJ Simon says, "Hey, Dick." It's just fun. It's just fun because that's the idea. I mean, you got to hype it up a little bit, have some fun with it. There's some pretty tight races, but they're going to put up Friday. They're going to put the Friday classes up Wednesday. They're going to put the Saturday afternoon classes up Thursday. And obviously the finals have to create themselves. But so Chandler, click on get started there. This is what it looks like for you. And then go to Wednesday night pro stock. And I'm in the car, so you kind of, Mike or Matt or Larry, well, Larry probably can't see that far this time of night, but the rest of you guys can zoom in a little bit. But if you kind of scroll down, you can see, where the odds are. And I think Tinker Toy and Loud and Heavy are in that 3-to-1 ratio. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, it looks good from what we can see. I got one eye open. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Loud and Heavy.
So
There it
X
is, Loud and
right.
Heavy, 3-to-6. Yep, 3.5 to 1.
The dollar amount that you see, that's what's been wagered on those tractors with the play money. So you
Cool.
can see that's where a lot of the money's moving. This has been fun. This was super fun at Diesel's and Dark Corners because all the money was in on Van Hazley, and then Cummins Killer just kicked everybody's ass Friday night and Saturday night. And whoever won that contest got Cummins Killer Friday night because I think they were like 15-to-1 at the time. And like to Mike's point, you put down a couple $100 of your play money on that. That's why, guys, when this turns into real money, this is going to be crazy fun. Crazy fun.
I'm standing by this statement so hard, Jason, and it's gonna Ricky Rose. That's the one I'm saying. Ricky, that tractor is gonna make somebody some money this weekend. Like that at 38-to-1 at a guy who in 2020 went to the pull off with Craig Corzine. I mean, that tractor.
Didn't he win a session at Toma? I think Yarn. Didn't he win a session
Yes,
at
he
Toma
did.
this year?
He wins a lot of things.
But the person that'll make the most money with the Giddy Up tractor will be the engine builder, Ken Vini.
Yeah.
There we
This
go.
is true.
There's,
Now I got a question. And so the odds that are coming in, are those adjusting as the bets are coming in? So
Yes.
it's not like an
Matt,
odds maker at the casino. This is actually being made by following the money, right? So
It's
if
following
you
the
bet
money.
today, your odds may change by the time Thursday gets here.
Correct.
So that's another question, I guess. Schultz, is it when it lock? So whenever they end the bets, is it whatever the odds are at is what you are getting, or is it when you lock your bet in, whatever the odds were at that time?
That's what I was going to ask, Brent.
And I don't honestly know. My gut tells me.
Because that is what I mean.
When you bet the ponies or the dogs, whatever at the gate call, whatever the odds were, no matter what you bet, what the odds were when you bet, that is the wager, and that is a ratio you'll get paid. Yeah.
Because if I go and place $1,000 on Giddy Up right now at 38-to-1, and after watching this podcast, everybody runs out there and does the same thing, his odds are going to go all the way down to 4-to-1, and it's going to be like, well, hey, I didn't, at 38-to-1, that's where I was making my money. So if it's locked in, that's what you would think it would be. So
Well,
I don't know, Larry.
Thing with that though too is the first people that bet, it's going to be low numbers.
Right.
True.
I feel like
true.
my gut tells me it's when they turn it off, that's what the odds are. That's what you're going to get.
Correct.
I think that's similar to horse racing, Larry.
I've never bet on horses or dogs, but nevertheless, whenever they close the betting, whatever that odd number is the odd they're going to pay.
Okay.
And if
So
Full
if
Pool
somebody's-
makes enough money, they're going to buy Jason a car that he can run his camera.
I love
Buy him
you,
a drop.
Larry.
Yeah, I know. No homo.
I think he can run his camera. He just doesn't want video proof of the speed that he's running the car right now.
No,
Well,
he doesn't.
I
He
wanted to
doesn't
leave-
want us to. He doesn't want us to see the 5-year-old kid that he hired to just touch the steering wheel ever so often, so it keeps driving itself.
I
when
wanted
you're on the
to,
toll road going through Chicago, it's probably
Yeah.
not a good thing to let the car drive itself.
Why not?
Well, I'll be honest, Larry, I do it a lot, and you do too. It wouldn't be much worse than most of the drivers there. So
I know.
it's pretty bad.
So true.
Um,
Well, I wanted to leave this morning, but some of the stuff from the trade show, which Larry, thank you for all the generous compliments that you gave me talking about booth 3194. I love you,
You
so
know what?
much. That I was laughing
I-
so hard.
I am here for you, Jason, and I'm going to
Yes.
take my mobility scooter and I'm going to come over to that friggin' booth, and I'm going to be the biggest pain in yours and Michael's butt. If I'm not out making somebody happy in Broadbent, I'm going to be right there, buddy. I mean, we're going to be right there.
I think he just
Michael?
volunteered for an interview.
Michael, we got to say
Yeah.
security. We have a deranged old man on a mobility scooter in our booth. Security.
Gas powered mobility scooter in Louisville.
I am half the. I'm the smallest person. I'll be one of the littlest guys in there. Jason, you're twice the size of me. You've got to be your own bodyguard, bud.
I upped the voltage on it, and I can assure you that my Pride mobility scooter, Victory 10 model, is going 2 miles an hour faster than the average blue hair bastard at the retirement center. You think
You need to put
I know you're serious. That's
you need to put like 8 hangers on it, or put like some real cool like a sissy bar or something on the back. You need to get this thing like a Harley.
Well,
Chandler,
it's got a cane mount. It's got a cane mount. I can take my cane off the cane mount, and I can hobble up there and say, "God damn, guys, here I am. I'm going to talk to you fellas."
Chandler, go back through the classes and let's to Mike's point. There's some like, I can't believe Ricky Rose is at that. What other ones really surprised you guys? And then Brett Yarin, I've had a couple text messages tonight. So pullers are wanting to know, like, this is the final round. I've been saying, yes, it's the final round. But if somebody doesn't make the call and you were the next one up in the fan voting, you still could be at the pullers championships.
That is correct.
Okay. I know that. I just wanted you to say it. There's a bunch of people. We had big numbers tonight. I texted Chase Richardson. I said, we're like the No Practice podcast tonight. We had like almost 400 people watching earlier when now nobody's watching now. We're just talking to ourselves. But earlier.
That's because you signed on.
It's about normal.
Once you signed on, Jason,
When Brent talks, people watch. But when the rest of us start talking, they're like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, I love it. I was charging my Tesla watching on my big screen then when you're parked, you can watch it. I made it.
Were you using the alternator hooked to the bicycle like Gilligan did to charge the battery? Were you doing that, or was you actually plugged into a wall outlet, Jason?
I was plugged into a Tesla supercharger. I paid $22.
I love that they're called superchargers because you're the only person in the. I know, but like, because you drive a Tesla to a motorsports event where we have like 871 and 1471 superchargers. So like you're the only person in the world who gets to make this connection. Other people is just like, oh, it's a charger that happens to be super. And so I always want to know what size blower. Have you seen any of the screw blower superchargers for your Tesla, or is that something different?
Chuck Knapp put the screw blower in my Tesla. We're good.
It's got the 1871.
Red Gambler
Deep
showing a
Motorsports.
66.
It's an unlimited.
Make sure your fuel shut off is the right direction.
Oh,
Matt, that's the kind of stuff.
Make sure you have a sampling valve, or when it comes time to check your fuel, you'll be kicked out. But I'm not going to bring a male dog around your Tesla. I don't want him to get shocked peeing on your tire.
When we're talking about these odds here, I mean,
I just wanted to
talking
come
about
on
farm
and
show.
straighten you guys out a little bit.
There's no
worth of shit. So.
There's no
Chandler's doing his job. He's scrolling just deliberately and like.
Yeah, like guys, get back to it. Would you? There's 43-1 odds on the Dr. Deere. I can't hardly read it. It's past my bedtime. High stakes
horsepower. That'd be a good one to pick. That's a hard run in 4-1.
Every single one of them are. It's an invite only. It's Louisville. I mean, anybody can win at any minute. And when these odds are that good, why aren't you betting? I mean, my goodness, especially if they're going to give you $1,000 to play with to start with. I've not walked into a casino that gives me that kind of comp. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I can attest to that. Found out the hard way.
Yeah. I've given them a lot of money and I've taken some, but they've never comped me that. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, Chandler, go back to the main page and just show the dollar amounts that have been wagered on each class. When I looked earlier, I think Pro Stock Wednesday night, guys, was like 45,000 earlier today. Where's it at now for a total?
48.9 or 48.8.
Okay. And then
6.
So for a while, like yesterday or Sunday, I don't even remember what day it is, the four-wheel drive mod trucks got off to a slow start, and they got some action. And then I think Pro Stock Thursday night's pretty solid, but the Super Farm, all the numbers I think now. What's the lowest on one class, guys? Earlier it was like 15 or 18,000 on two-wheel drives, maybe.
15 for 4-wheel drives.
Who is Carmen
there's-
Foster? No, last night at 5:00, Ted Skelton and The Rock was a favorite, like at 5-1. What's it look like
that's
now?
who I
6
that's
to 1
who I
for
bet on.
Armin.
Hey, Larry, and the 4-wheel drive truck class, out of that bunch, who's been the most dominant over like the last 5 years? I feel like Skelton's been in the top 3 the last couple of years. Does Carmen have a pretty
Louisville?
good? Yeah, does Carmen
At
have a pretty good Louisville?
Carmen's got a
record?
good record at Louisville. Yes, she's
Yeah.
hard to
Okay.
beat. Between that and Jake Zaring, one of the Zaring trucks, yeah, you can throw Ted in there, but whatever.
The 650s tend to do well at Louisville because you have to get on the throttle and to the track so much quicker that you're not sitting there trying to tame the beast that's the mountain motor. I think the 650s actually tend to do better on that short track because you can sidestep the clutch and get after it a little bit quicker, and you're not going to be as likely to blow the tires off. That's what I think. But they've seen
And it's a whole different chassis. It's a whole different chassis setup for a short track than it is a long track on a 4-wheel drive. Trust me.
Hey,
Oh,
Brent,
there's
I've got some text
64
messages that people said they're already registering. That
Yeah,
made it in.
John did. I saw that.
That's awesome. 2-wheel drive, it was Petro and Big Stick were pretty tight with that Wild and Blue truck out of North Carolina. Larry, the Carolinas, is that Region 4 or is that Region 5 out there?
4.
Is that 6?
That's Region 4, yeah.
Okay, so Brandon Lee, Wild and Blue, was the Region 4 points champ last year.
Right.
And when they launched this Saturday, about midday Saturday, he was the early favorite. And then Donnie Sullivan got it. And all of a sudden, Petro, when I checked last night about 5:00, Petro was the favorite in that class in 2-wheelers.
Well, Petros are hard
Now
to
it
beat.
looks like Ashley is. It looks like Ashley's got the best odds now.
Okay. Again,
still
following
time.
up.
Well,
Gonna
maybe
change.
just this session. Maybe just this session.
Yeah, well, that's all there
Ashley.
is. That's what you're looking at, Mike, is just
Okay.
each
Yeah,
session.
so a 4.5. Yeah, she's got the. I think she. Like I said, it's going to be renamed Corzine Hall one of these days.
I think it's a house that Masterson built. I'm
Yeah.
going to go
That's
with Larry on that.
that's probably even better. Yeah, yeah.
'Cause on
Either
my-
Masterson or Sullivan. Yeah.
Yeah. I will never, God rest his soul, Don Masterson, but watching him back in 19 and 20 before his accident, last
Good
puller in
man.
the class, just kind of putting his glove on, just taking his time, and then stuffs her in the sand, and that place goes crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty,
Yeah, he's hard to
pretty
beat.
awesome. Pretty
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, I need everybody to jump on Full Pull that's still watching the podcast or listening, and this week share with your friends and family, and just go to fullpull.us on your computer or Full Pull app. I know the app was kind of clunky last summer. The owners of Full Pull told me they've redesigned it. If you guys find any quirkiness in it, please message the Facebook page so they hear that back. But it seems to be you don't have to log in every single time like you did last summer. All the schedules are up now for 2024. The Full Pull app, guys, is going to be the one-stop shop for everything pulling,
Mhm.
points,
Mhm.
schedules. It's freaking awesome. It's
OJ's
like the
got it
Outlaws
going
have a
on.
great app. The Outlaws have a great app, and now this is going to be for all of pulling. And I mean, even old people like Larry Richwine use their phone, guys. So I mean, I think it's important.
This right here, boys. This is a smartphone in a dumbass's hand.
So Chandler, kick me off the broadcast, guys. You guys are great. Keep going. You sound
Jason.
amazing. Yes.
Jason, before you go, thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye then.
Okay.
Speaking of that Full Pull app, the best thing about I love the results page on it. It's so easy.
It's right away too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch from
the
anywhere
app-
you're
yeah,
out
the
in the
app is-
tractor or whatever you're doing. It's like, oh man, we're getting results right away. And
the app is awesome.
I thought Jason would never leave. Jesus. I mean,
No,
All right, now back to the good stuff. So,
well, on that note, though, it is about this guy's bedtime. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I wave myself out of here, gentlemen. It's a 4:00 start tomorrow. So everybody, congratulations on the Pullers Championship. Those that got in, those that are waiting. Brent, congratulations on getting this far. You've been working your ass off, so that's great. Again, everybody that's going to Louisville, please drive safe. I wish I could be there so I could be interviewed with all these great names on the list. And that's it for me. I'm going to let you guys take it the rest of the way home.
See you, Matt.
Matt, we'll see you, bud. Have a good night.
Great night. You bet,
Yeah,
guys.
take care, Matt.
Yep. And I'd say I'm probably going to be pretty close behind him as well. I'm heading. Larry, how far of a drive is it for you to get to Louisville? How many hours are you
120
traveling, and when are you leaving?
123 miles.
Shoot, you could sleep in your own bed each night if you really wanted to.
No,
That's a 2-hour drive. That's not bad. That's not bad.
no.
So when
sleep in the hotel?
Are you leaving Wednesday morning, or are you going to leave tomorrow?
No. 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, Mr. Jason Bramer is going to be at my shop. We're going to load my mobility scooter on the back of his pickup truck and head down there. I'm going to report to work tomorrow afternoon. And then, of course, Wednesday we'll start checking and everything. Tomorrow there'll be some move in later in the afternoon of vehicles. And I'm going to get established down there and get ready to go. But it's going to be a great weekend. Going to be a great pull.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of your mod, Larry, when you pulled?
The Weekender. Do
you have that stenciled on the side of your mobility scooter somewhere?
No.
Because I feel like you need to. I feel like we need to. It'd be like a mini rod version. It'd be like the Weekender Light or something like that.
No.
Not feeling it.
No. Of all the things you've said that makes a lot of sense, Michael.
That one didn't check the boxes. I'll see myself out. Yeah, I'm heading out. I'm going to jump off here pretty soon too, because
I am too, guys.
Like Matt says, big day tomorrow. We're going to leave. We're going to leave about 5 o'clock tomorrow night, and if we make it all the way to Louisville, we'll make it all the way to Louisville, and if we don't, we'll stay in Evansville or East St. Louis.
How long a drive is it for you? How long a drive,
Michael?
Michael?
6.5 hours. 6 hours, 6.5 hours, something like that. I don't know.
Gas up the family truckster, turn the headlights on, and drive.
I think that's what our plan's going to be. We're just going to
All right.
eastbound and down. You know how it goes. So,
yeah. Well, Brent, you
Yep.
did a hell of a job. I appreciate all the work you've done. It's not over, but you've done a great job with it. My butt is gone. The German Shepherd and I are going to the house. I'm an hour ahead of you guys. See ya.
See ya.
Yeah. Brent, I'm good if you're good, bud. If there's any last things we need to tell the world, we can. But
yeah, for the most part, we'll just kind of keep on trucking here, and we'll be doing some updates probably once we get closer to the event. Next big thing will probably be probably once we start drawing lineups. That'll be the next big things that we'll go live for. I'll hop on here every now and then and give some updates for where we're at and make sure that people know that there's going to be a poll May 17th and 18th at Track of Holes Hours in Nashville, Illinois. And biggest thing is sponsorship. If anybody has anybody that is absolutely a minute 0.01% chance of sponsoring, we'll even talk to them. So anybody that has any leads for us, obviously we have a ginormous list of sponsors that we reach out to, potential sponsors. Carrie Lowry, that works for Brad at the Track of Holes Hours. She's been doing phenomenal with reaching out to a lot of the companies and vendors and things like that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. And we picked up some sponsorships that way, and she's reaching out for more of the local stuff while we kind of do more of a corporate, like bigger, a lot of the companies that are involved in polling and farming and stuff like that. We're kind of tackling those sponsorship while she does a lot more of the local stuff. So if anybody, like I said, if anybody has any leads, please send them our way. And it's going to help us grow the event, make the event better, and put more money into the pullers' pockets. That's what it's all about. So we're putting together hopefully the best show yet, and there'll be some more surprises here coming. Obviously, not really surprises, but some
more announcements.
Yep, more announcements on some of the promoters' choice classes as we start filling those up. Obviously, that's going to fill up a little bit more mods. We're hoping to get a couple new ones that haven't pulled there before. Still working on that, and obviously still farm show to go. There's still the Mac Trailer Winter Nationals, still Keystone Nationals. So there's still some guys in some of those they'll be pulling in those that they're just kind of waiting and making sure they get through the indoor season before committing, and we'll just kind of go from there. So, well, it'll be here before we know it.
Sounds good. Yep.
So,
Well, I think I'm gonna sign off, call it a night, and yeah, like I said, we got Louisville, then we've got the truck show. You gave Keystone a nod, and then the Pullers Championship.
yep.
So watching whatever way that you can, guys. Everyone who's watched tonight, pulling is fun.
Absolutely.
Brent, have a great night, buddy.
Yep. Take care. Talk to you later.
Yep.